Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're diving into a romance novel. Ready to get started?
A romance novel for a deep dive, huh? Interesting choice. Love Interest by Clare Gilmore takes us into the world of contemporary dating in New York City. But it's more than just a typical romance. There's a good story woven in there, too.
Yeah, I thought it would be a fun change of pace for our listeners. So the story follows Casey. She's a financial analyst, a real numbers person,
Hmm.
and she just moved to New York City from Nashville.
Quite the change of scenery.
You got it. And she ends up working at this company called Little Cooper, LC for short.
Mhm.
It's full of creative types, writers, designers, that sort of thing.
Oh, I can see the culture clash already. A numbers person in a sea of creatives.
Exactly. And to make things even more interesting, she pretty much instantly clashes with Alex Harrison. He's the CEO's son.
So we've got the classic privileged trust fund kid trope. I bet he's in for a surprise.
Right. Well, Elsie is launching this new digital media project called Bite the Hand.
Bite the Hand. That's an interesting name. What's it all about?
The details are a little fuzzy, but it sounds like they're trying to do something innovative in the digital space. And Casey, she really wants to be a part of it. Tap into her creative side. But guess what?
Let me guess. She doesn't get the job.
You nailed it. But of course, this wouldn't be much of a story if she just gave up.
Right. So how does she end up on the project?
Well, it's a series of chance encounters, really, just luck. And she ends up working on Bite the Hand alongside, you guessed it, Alex Harrison.
Oh, no. Talk about awkward.
Yeah. And to make things even more uncomfortable, the project lead is Sanvi, someone Casey really admires.
So forced proximity with the guy she can't stand under the pressure of impressing her role model, that's a recipe for disaster, or maybe the start of something unexpected?
Well, it's definitely not smooth sailing. Now, picture this. Casey is out with Alex and a coworker, and they run into her ex. And get this, he's with his fiancée.
Ouch. That's gotta be rough.
It was super awkward. But it's interesting. It's during those awkward moments, those times when they're both kind of struggling, that Casey and Alex start to bond.
It's funny how shared experiences, even the uncomfortable ones, can bring people closer. You start to see each other in a new light.
Exactly. And while all this is happening, there's this whole other layer of mystery surrounding Alex's father,
Yeah.
Robert Harrison. There are hints of a corporate rivalry between him and LC's CEO.
Ooh, corporate drama. I'm intrigued.
Right. And it makes you question Alex's motives. Is he genuinely interested in Casey, or is there something else going on?
Good point. You never know with these trust fund types. Could he be using her to get information about the company?
It's definitely a possibility. So as they're working on Bite the Hand and navigating these awkward social situations, they start to open up to each other. They share personal stories,
Mm-hmm.
stuff they wouldn't tell just anyone.
Mm.
And Casey, she starts to feel like she can trust Alex. So she reveals something pretty big. She tells him about a potential acquisition of LC by a rival company.
Wow, that's a huge risk. Sharing that kind of information means she really trusts him. I hope he doesn't betray that trust.
Well, that's where things take a turn for the worse. It seems like Alex uses the information she shared to benefit his father.
No, I knew it. He was playing her all along.
Yeah. Casey's devastated, feels totally betrayed. Their relationship falls apart.
That's heartbreaking. I wonder how she copes with that.
Well, to escape the pain and maybe start fresh, she accepts a job offer in London. We see her saying goodbye to Alex, which is really tough for her. And then she's all alone in this new city trying to find her place.
Starting over in a new country, that's a bold move. It takes a lot of courage to walk away from everything you know and embrace the unknown.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just need a clean break, a fresh start.
I get it. Sometimes you just need to shake things up. So what happens next? Does she find happiness in London? Does she ever find out the truth about Alex and his motives?
Well, for that, we'll have to dive into the next part of our deep dive. We'll pick up Casey's story and see what unfolds in her new life.
So last we left Casey, she was in London. New job, new life. Trying to forget all about Alex, I imagine. But I bet it's not that easy to just erase those feelings.
It's not. It's clear she's still hurting. But she's trying to move on. And then something happens that changes everything. It's one of those chance encounters that you just can't make up. She bumps into someone who knows the truth about the acquisition.
Wait a minute, hold on. Are you saying Alex didn't actually betray her?
That's exactly what I'm saying. It turns out Alex was completely in the dark about his father's plan. He was used, a pawn in his father's game.
Wow. Poor Alex. That's awful. Trying to do the right thing by his dad, and it backfires spectacularly.
It does. It really highlights how complicated family relationships can be. How sometimes, even with the best intentions, things can go horribly wrong.
Absolutely. So, what does Casey do when she learns the truth? Does she try to contact Alex?
She does. But she doesn't just reach out to Alex. She decides to confront both Alex and Dee, his father. She's determined to set the record straight.
That's our girl. She's not going to let anyone walk all over her. I like that she's taking charge.
Me too. And this confrontation, well, it sets off a chain of events.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens?
Alex, when he realizes what his father has done, how he's been manipulated and how much he's hurt Casey, he takes action. He exposes his father's scheme.
So he turns against his own father. That's a big move. Shows real strength of character.
It does. And it brings down the whole acquisition plan.
Wow. So Robert Harrison's scheme is exposed, the acquisition falls apart, and Alex has stood up to his father. What about Casey? Where does this leave her?
Well, she finally sees Alex for who he really is. A good guy who made a mistake. Someone who was trying to protect his family, but ended up hurting her in the process.
So they reconcile, get back together.
They do. But it's not that simple. It's not just a snap of the fingers and everything's back to normal.
Of course not. There's a lot of hurt to unpack, a lot of trust to rebuild.
Exactly. And remember, Casey's in London. She's built a new life for herself there. She's not about to just drop everything and run back to Alex.
Right. She's found independence, success. She's not going to sacrifice that, even for love.
So they're faced with this challenge, how to rebuild their relationship when they're miles apart.
Long-distance relationships are tough. A lot of communication, a lot of trust.
It's definitely not easy, but they're both committed to making it work. They talk constantly, they have virtual dates, they visit each other whenever they can.
So they're putting in the effort, finding ways to stay connected despite the distance.
They are. And sometimes a little distance can actually be a good thing. It gives you space to grow as individuals while still nurturing the relationship.
You're right. Sometimes absence does make the heart grow fonder. It gives you time to reflect, to appreciate what you have. So they're making it work. But what about the ending? Do they end up in the same city?
Well, the book doesn't give us a definitive answer. It leaves us with a sense of hope, of possibility. Casey is thriving in London. Alex is now a freelancer, which means he has the freedom to go wherever he wants.
So he could join her in London.
He could. And the book ends with him making that decision. He's going to follow her to London. They're going to give it a real shot. So Alex is heading to London. Sounds like a pretty happy ending, right? But I'm guessing things aren't quite that simple.
You're right. There are still some emotional hurdles to clear. I mean, for Casey, it's about learning to trust Alex again after what happened. And for Alex, it's about proving he's changed, showing her that he's not going to make the same mistakes.
That makes sense. Trust is a big deal, especially after a betrayal like that. And there's also the question of Robert Harrison, Alex's father. He's not just going to disappear, right?
No, definitely not. He's still out there, still a powerful figure. And I bet he's not too happy about his son turning against him.
Right. You'd think there would be some fallout from that. And speaking of family, remember Alex's half-brother? The one who was kind of a mystery throughout the story.
Yeah, what about him? What role does he play in all of this?
Well, it turns out he's more involved than we initially thought. He's actually a key part of Robert Harrison's whole scheme, even though he doesn't realize the full extent of it.
Oh, wow. So he's been manipulated by his father, too. That's a tough situation, caught between family loyalty and doing what's right.
Exactly. So we've got Casey trying to rebuild trust with Alex, Alex trying to break free from his father's influence, and the half-brother caught in the middle of it all. It sounds like things are about to get messy.
They do get messy. There are confrontations, emotional breakdowns, and even some surprising alliances. It's a real roller coaster.
So how does it all end? Does good triumph over evil? Do Casey and Alex finally get their happy ending?
Well, I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say justice is served, and love wins out in the end. But it's not an easy journey. There are definitely bumps along the road.
Sounds like a satisfying resolution, though.
It is. The characters grow, they learn from their mistakes, and they come out stronger on the other side.
And it's not just about romantic love, is it? There's a lot more going on in this book.
Exactly. It's about family, forgiveness, finding your place in the world, and it's about realizing that even when things go wrong, there's always hope for a better future.
Love Interest really is a beautiful story. It's engaging, thought-provoking. It stays with you long after you finish reading it. I'm glad we chose to do a deep dive on this one.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
been a fun journey, and I think our listeners will enjoy it as well.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Love Interest by Clare Gilmore. If you're looking for a romance with a bit of mystery, a touch of corporate drama, and a whole lot of heart, I definitely recommend giving it a read.
You won't be disappointed. It's a story about second chances, about the power of love and forgiveness.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you enjoyed this one, hit that like button and spread the word. We'll be back soon with another bookish adventure.